This is Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios, and we're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors. Now it's time for a message from the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. The MHA Minute is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need an exterminator, you want someone reliable and effective. Call Greg Keener at Pest Control Services, 952-894-9748. Pest Control Services is a proud member of the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. That's Pest Control Services, 952-894-9748. And tell Greg that Gene and Tony sent you. There's a couple of events at the Multi-Housing Association in November that our listeners would be interested in. One is the Investors Club. They're meeting on Tuesday, November 15th. This is for small rental property owners, meaning not small in stature, but small in the number of units they own.
So it doesn't matter how tall you are.
It doesn't matter. There's no minimum height requirement. The event is called From Vacancy Notice to Lease Up in 12 Hours. Big company ideas that you can steal. The presenter is Chad Scally from Scally Management. He'll share ways he uses technology to reduce expenses, decrease his vacancies, and increase his profits.
That's one of the best values of that small investors group. You're rubbing shoulders with people all the time.
That's right. And they always are
right there.
They have professionals presenting with years and years and years of experience. So you will always come away with something. It's held at the Roseville Skating Center in downtown Roseville. For more information, call Allison. Sorry, I couldn't come up with the name. Call Allison at 952-548-2215. Another event for homeowner associations and specifically for board members of homeowners associations, the CIC Midwest Lunch and Learn will be held on Wednesday, November 16th. The title in November is Effective Collections, Bankruptcies, Foreclosures, and Properties Underwater. The presenter of this event is Joel Hilgendorf of Hellmuth and Johnson. His topic will deal with what to do when the bank forecloses or the bank won't foreclose, how to collect assessments when properties are underwater, how to collect assessments on bank-owned units, what to do with association-owned units, and what to do when an owner files bankruptcy. That'll be held at the Holiday Inn in Bloomington. Call Allison, 952-548-2215 for registration information.
Yeah. Well, getting back to the story that we were talking about, a guy by the name of Grant Parker, president and CEO of Lewis Management Resources in Tucson, Arizona, wrote a great piece, and he's talking about an individual who is that strong-willed person, that strong personality who comes on the board and then kind of takes control.
Well, right. And plus in this story, he got his position on the board by using fearful rhetoric. He convinced the members that they were going to hell in a handbasket.
Everything's going wrong.
That money was being wasted, that management was incompetent, and he got himself elected. He intimidated other board members who didn't agree with him. Mm-hmm. They were afraid to speak up. So he basically took over the show. The first thing he took on was getting rid of the site manager, it sounds like.
Yes, what do you do in dealing with people like that? This is always a tough thing, and I have boards that ask me this month after month after month because they're dealing with one person who just seems to be unsurmountable in
and
their
the reason
energy.
It's important to deal with people like that, in this story, it's a great example. There were 4 years of turmoil. All of their staff pretty much quit and were replaced with people who did not have the experience but were willing to do what they were told. So after 4 years, members got mad enough, they finally ousted this board and ousted this president. So it set them back years in their finances and in their operation.
So the person that they thought was going to do a lot of good because they were passionate really wasn't the best person for the job here at all.
No. So this is the kind of damage a person like this can cause.
Yes. And there are a couple of things, and this is where it gets to be a little bit tough because folks need to learn how to stand up to an individual, and that's where Minnesota Nice, unfortunately, does not help folks in being able to deal with this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying, of course, that you have to be in their face and you have to fight fire with fire, and if a person yells, you have to yell back. But no, you do need to stand up, and there's a few things that I would like to suggest.
Sure, you do actually have presented a seminar on this subject.
Yes,
many
how to deal with difficult people, and the number one thing that the manager can do, if we're taught, and this is I guess directed to that site manager or that management company, and that is you need to continue to be a professional. That means you need to continue to make recommendations. One of the things that happens when you have that strong individual who's always telling you what to do, you need to bring it back and say, I appreciate this recommendation. However, we need to bring this to the entire board for a decision, because a board is not made up of one member.
That's right.
It's made up of the three members, the 5, 7, or however many there are on the board, and they all have to have.
That's a good point. It's easy to fall into a trap of the board president giving you all your direction, and you fall into this habit of always doing what they say. Decisions have to be made by the majority of the board.
Yeah. Number 2, there needs to be transparency. One of the things that went on in this article here was kind of discovering that this guy, who is this strong-willed president, was not allowing information to get out to other homeowners. They were kind of kept in the dark. They didn't need to know because I'm taking care of things. That's fine, I guess, if you 100% always agree with the individual and think that they've got your best interest at heart. But I think with most homeowners, they all agree that it is their home and they want to have a say. They want to know what's going on. So one of the other things you need to do is you need to be transparent. You need to let people know what the minutes are. People need to have access to meetings. They need to have access to their board and being able to present and share their concerns.
That's right. We say over and over and over again, this is the democratic process. This is not a dictatorship.
Yeah. And so communication is the key. And that's real tough for some board members because they know that they're going to get a lot of pushback from this individual. The property manager knows that, you know what, they may be fired because they are saying that they don't agree. But I think it is there is a professional responsibility that as property managers that we have, a fiduciary responsibility to say to our client, I don't think acting in this manner is going to be good and useful for the association. Now, they may choose to go another direction, and that's fine. That's their choice. But we have the obligation to bring up when we think something is not in their best interest.
That's right.
So communication certainly seems to be the key. Another is that you need to get everybody to participate, in the way to do that, Robert's Rules of Order.
That's right. That's right.
We've talked about that so many times.
Yeah.
It's not anything that is over formal. It is just a way of allowing everybody to have the opportunity to have a say and to participate in the discussion. Well, one of the things we need to do is we want to continue on with our discussion with where you live, but we need to take a break right now for some messages. When we come back, we're going to be talking about that homeowner association in Indiana that, they are having some hard times. And also a group in Maryland that thinks that they are paying too much and obligated in a contract that a developer put them into. That and so much more right here on Where You Live with Gene and Tony. Back after this.